Tonight, it's the big one, Tottenham versus Bodo Glimt. There is zero excuses not to win this game. Bodo Glimt have been hit with a squad crisis. 3 suspensions, 2 injuries, 2 key players. And they do not travel away from home good. This is a team that this competition lost to Karabag. If we lose tonight to Bodo Glimt, then how have we got to a semi-final of a European competition and we're playing Bodo Glimt? Look, the hair's a mess. You can see that. We got our cup of tea this morning. And we're here to talk about Tottenham. Make sure you go down. Drop a like on the video if you haven't already. That would be greatly appreciated. And we are on our way towards 60,000 subscribers. If you haven't already, please go down and hit that subscribe button. As it stands right now, we're closing in on 52K. We're about 180 away. Let me know your predictions down below. But I want to talk about Bodo Glimt before we get into Tottenham and how the fact this is the biggest game we've had since the Champions League. Bodo Glimt's season only started about a month ago. They're only 4 games in to their league campaign. And this is a side that has practically played every single Europa League game, basically a pre-season. You know, they've played 4, won 3, drawn 1, lost 0, scored 9, conceded 2. This is a team that is relying on its home form, but they do not travel well away. They don't. You know, if you actually look at their Europa League fixtures this season, they obviously lost 3-1 to Lazio, but went for an aggregate. They lost 2-1 to Olympiacos. If you actually look at this, they lost 2-1 to FC 20. But look, they beat them at home. They beat 20 at home. If you look at before that, they lost 3-2 to Manchester United. Obviously away again. They lost 3-0 to Sparta Prague in a friendly. 3-2 to Dusseldorf away from home in a friendly. Drew 1-1 with Nice in the Europa League. If you go back to September, they obviously beat Porto. Drew 0-0 away to Union St. Gilles. The only away win they've had in the Europa League this season was against Braga. But they also lost at home against Karabag. If we lose and get knocked out to Bodo Glimt, that would be one of the biggest disgraces in this football club's history. They're not a good side. They are in the Europa League semi-final, so we have to, give them some praise. But they are heavily relying on their home form. In the Europa League for Tottenham, we have gone out to Germany and beaten Frankfurt. We've drawn with Rangers. We have beaten AZ Alkmaar at home. We've gone out to Ferner Chavos and won away. We've gone out to Rangers and got a draw. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think we should be looking at least three goals tonight. At least 3 goals tonight. If you look on FootMob, they have got a number of suspensions that are unavailable today. They've got a number of players that are unavailable. They've got Daniel Bassi, who is back in training. They've got Patrick Berg, who's suspended. Andreas Helmsen, who's suspended. Hakon Even, who's suspended. And the only player that we have missing is Radu Dragusin, who's got an ACL, but we've also got Van de Ven, Romero, Danso, and Son is a doubt, but Son hasn't played for a month. Other than that, we have a fully fit squad. In terms of the team, they reckon this is going to be the lineup for both teams. And I don't know, it's one of their players. We essentially are going with our fully fit team. The same team that went out to Germany and managed to beat Frankfurt away from home. If we can't score 3 goals tonight against that Bodo Glimt team who don't travel away from home and going to be relying on their home form, knowing the fact that we just went out to Frankfurt in a hostile atmosphere and beat them. If we go 3-0 up tonight, we're in the final. I don't care how cold it is in Norway. I don't care about the weather. I don't care that, the game is only 100 kilometers from the Arctic Circle, even though I'm actually going and I'm going to vlog it. So I know you guys want to see that sort of stuff. We should be winning 3-0 tonight. There is absolutely zero excuses. They've got 3 or 4 players that are not available tonight. They've got, they're only 5 or 6 games into the start of their season. There is absolutely zero excuse. Zero excuse. For Tottenham, this is it. This is make or break. We win the Europa League. It's our most successful season in 40-odd years. We're back in the Champions League. Financially, it is massive for us because if we don't go through to the final and we don't win the Europa League, I don't trust this board and hierarchy to go out there and spend the money. And I think it puts us in a 2 to 4 year rut of trying to get back to the Europa League or the Champions League. You've also got to look at, there is probably going to be, players like Kulusevski, players like Van de Ven, players like Romero going to be leaving. If we win the Europa League, the likelihood of all of them staying is tenfold. Lucas Bergvall signed a new contract yesterday. I look at that team right now. I think we win 3-0 tonight. I think we win 3-0 tonight. They're not a good side away from home. They're not. We should be looking at absolutely annihilating them tonight. In terms of their fixtures, they haven't got a game between now and our game. So they've got an entire week off to rest, whereas we play West Ham on Sunday. I don't care about that West Ham game. I'd quite happily Tottenham get a draw there and go and beat Bodo out in Norway. And then the Europa League semi-final, the other game tonight, is Manchester United travelling to Bilbao. Now, I predicted saying that I do think the final will be Tottenham versus Bilbao. It's absolutely huge for us winning this competition. We've won it twice already in the 70s and the 80s. Manchester United have won it recently in 2017. Bilbao obviously have got pedigree. They won the Copa del Rey last year. They're probably the best team left in this competition. I'm going to say it right now. I do think it will be a Tottenham versus Bilbao final. And then it's just a one-off game. It's about how we play. A one-off game. That is it. If we can go to Bilbao and beat Bilbao in their own stadium. Man United have got that night in Barcelona. Chelsea beat Bayern Munich at Munich Stadium in the Champions League. Man City and Liverpool have got that night in Istanbul when both teams won the Champions League. Why can't, for once, we show our European pedigree and go and win this Europa League? We have had the luckiest run. The luckiest run. Look at Man United. We didn't have to play Sociedad. We didn't have to play Roma. We didn't have to play Bilbao. We didn't have to play Porto. We've had to play Galatasaray. We didn't have to play Galatasaray. We had to play AZ Alkmaar and Frankfurt. We managed to go out there and do that. And we've actually conceded a lot less goals. We only conceded 3 in the quarterfinal and last 16, whereas Bilbao conceded 3 against Roma, and obviously kept a clean sheet against Rangers. Man United conceded 6 against Lyon and 2 against Real Sociedad. So they've conceded 8 goals in the last 16 and quarterfinal. So defensively, we are stronger than Manchester United, but we absolutely have to, must win this game. Zero excuses for me tonight. If we lose this game tonight, generational rant incoming. Generational rant incoming. Like I would absolutely I don't know. I don't know, man. I'd lose my head. I'd absolutely lose my head. We have to win tonight. In terms of our game at the weekend, we of course do play West Ham. If you look at our remaining fixtures, I think the only ones that people care about is Bodo. I don't really care too much about Brighton away. I don't really care. Sorry, Brighton at home. I don't care about Palace at home. You know, we'd have Aston Villa 3 days before a Europa League final potentially. So I'd quite happily lose there if it meant going out and beating Bilbao. I would do anything to see Tottenham win this trophy. Make sure you go down, drop a like. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button. I am out.